Whew. Hello and welcome back. It's been a little while and I'm a little mad at myself because I actually promised myself that I wouldn't let a week go by without an episode. And somehow in the last 2 weeks, so many things have come together that I felt I just didn't have the space to produce another episode. And some of the interviews are still in production with my wonderful editor that is helping me do the interviews. And there are so many things to share with you. This space that I'm finding myself in at the moment, I've done this podcast now for a little bit over 2 years, and it's gone through several evolutions already in the way it is. Mama, what's next? And all the things that I wanted to share and talk about. To be honest, it was really a visibility exercise and experiment for me when I started, because one of the most difficult things for me was speaking in front of people, especially the idea of speaking into a microphone. And I have shared this story now a few times on different other podcasts where I talked about my journey from quite a shy teenager, and I was scared to ask anyone on the street for the time. I was scared to ask the waiter for ketchup. I just died every time I had to do that internally. It was really, really difficult for me that the people, the family around you make fun of that kind of behavior. And it's funny because now I'm a mom and I see certain things in my daughter and it reminds me of that journey. And when I got older, maybe about 18, 19, I did a vocational training. I became a paralegal. That was my first training for about 3 years. I worked in a legal office. After that, I really couldn't take it any longer. I was so determined to change this behavior that I went out and thought to myself, I need to do something that kind of forces me and pushes me into this space where I need to talk to strangers. So I went to apply for promotional jobs. One of my first biggest jobs was to work for a radio station near Leipzig where I lived, and we went onto a tour with a tour bus, and luckily there was about 50 of us, so I wasn't alone, and we all had to roam the streets and promote a show or whatever it was at the time. And it was the hardest, most difficult thing for me in the beginning. But then once you start to overcome this fear and you do it over and over and over and over again, I realized, wow, this is actually something that you can overcome. So after that, I kept working in this space because I'm quite a happy nature, smiley and happy. And because of that, slowly, step by step, overcoming this fear to speak to strangers, I ended up getting quite amazing jobs. One of the coolest ones was they flew us out to a private concert in London to the Black Eyed Peas. And still, sometimes I think, wow, just the crazy things that we did. But I would have never gotten this opportunity without that very first step. So all the way through my life, this kind of challenge obviously didn't disappear for me. It's something that I've been working on and living with. And there are certain rooms that I was in that felt so intimidating to me that I just became this little tiny shy girl 14 years afraid to ask a stranger for the time. And at other times, I was able to overcome this fear, speak my mind, share my ideas. But I've recently also shared in an interview that, especially in the corporate space, it was really, really difficult for me. Mama What's Next has really started as a visibility experiment for me, and me trying to overcome this fear and stepping into this space where I share my ideas. And it felt safest for me in the beginning to do this through interviews, not just because it was the safest option, because I'm talking to people rather than just sitting here by myself like I do now, speaking to you about me and my life and my experiences, but more so because it just feels much more natural and normal to share something in conversation. I'm a very curious person, and I love to get to know people, and especially women that I can learn from. So I have really very, very much enjoyed this experience. And Mama Was Next as a name for the show was very representative of my journey, because I was always criticized for, why do you have to do this next thing again? Why are you already moving on? Can you not stick to something? I'm multi-passionate. I'm a manifesting generator 5/1. And even though I'm not a human design expert, but I know enough about manifesting generators to understand that we have this thirst for new experiences, learning, stepping in new spaces, soaking up that information and taking it, passing it on, moving into the next space. And sometimes we move very fast. I think this understanding of, hey, there's other people out here like me, other multi-passionate people, other manifesting generators that are quite similar to the way I function in the world. And I started to be okay with it. I started to see myself less as a faulty person that has always been criticized by the people around me. Why can you not stick to something? Why are you not finishing anything? You could be so much more successful if you just stuck to it. I think I have criticized myself for this for a long time. And over the past few years, I've really learned that it's so totally okay to be like this and to experience the world like this. And I really like the way I step into new spaces, learn new information, move on, because I know a lot of things about a lot of things because of that. And I'm so, so very grateful for this. So anyway, it obviously helps to understand that there's more out there, maybe you're one of them, than just me. And I felt, okay, finally, I can be that person and I can share these experiences with my people. And now Mama What's Next has been this space where I speak to women that are stepping into meaningful work, that are creating lives that are aligned with where they want to go, that are moving from a corporate environment where they might have been unhappy, where they've experienced burnout and disappointments, and where they have been unfulfilled, and moving into entrepreneurial spaces, into somatic or therapist businesses that they're building, and building visibility around their business and becoming more visible. So step by step, I and also this podcast has evolved, of course. And from in the beginning sharing more career change stories and career transition stories to slowly, step by step, moving into a space where we talk more about how do we market ourselves authentically, how do we create authentic visibility, how do we step into a space that feels more like us, that feels aligned with our lives. And mostly I interview mums, and it's been such a wonderful experience. And there's been so many experiences where I have spoken to women that are building spiritual businesses, healing businesses. And I am very deeply touched by the work that they're doing and the path that they're walking. The last few years, for me specifically, this type of work has been very transformational for my life, particularly certain healing modalities with Kundalini activation work, with kinesiology, with healing work has been so transformational for me that I want to do more work in this space. And I feel there's a certain shift in the world right now where more and more women are moving out of 9-to-5 roles. They're moving into entrepreneurial roles. They're moving into deeply aligned roles, and they're following their calling. They're following their heart, and I need to do the same. And which is why this episode is so emotional for me. Even though Mama, What's Next was so aligned with me for a very long time, I feel there's a what's next for me right now. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit scared to step into it. And this always happens, right? When you are at a point in your life where you know this is the right next step, but you're just that little tiny bit scared to take the step. So I've been putting off this episode. It's actually episode number 100. I've been putting it off because I was just a little bit scared to take that step and to share with you that the podcast needs a new name. And I've been sitting with that name for a very, very long time now. And I think I'm a little bit scared of it because I feel it is very, very aligned with the journey that I've had and the work that I've started to step into. And just putting it out there as a name outside, it's like putting a door sign outside your office. It just feels like, poof, now that's it, and everybody can see it, and then you have to deliver, right? And so I feel a little bit pressured. And I also feel that there's so much in this new name that also scares me. But at the same time, I feel it's time. Essentially, this is the kind of work that I want to support you with as well. And trust me, I'm doing it right now. I know how hard this can be sometimes, and it shows you it's all possible. So the show needs to have a name that is more aligned with that kind of work that I want to share and the kind of support that I want to give to women building aligned businesses, especially women that change lives, women that step into a new space to help other women, women that are here to create impact, that are purpose-driven, that have a calling. I really want to support them and I want to share their stories. And the last few months, the idea was born to support women specifically with their content marketing, because I experience over and over again that specifically women in this space that are building therapist businesses, somatic businesses, holistic wellness businesses. Often they struggle to explain why their work matters, and they struggle to explain how it really affects other people and the transformation it creates. And when I ask them in conversation, though, they have no problems explaining it. And it just flows right out, which is why I have come to the belief that conversation really is the best tool to extract your story, your expertise, and really uncover what makes you different. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what I want to support women with. How we can be more authentic when we become visible, when we want to get found online, and how we can grow visibility. And so essentially this podcast is about being more real, more truthful, and more vulnerable with everyone else. And of course, I want to step into this space as well, which is the next step of this evolution and expansion for me personally. So I came to a name that is both reflective of, I think, me as a personality, but also reflective of all of the work that I want to talk about and support with. And, well, that was a very long story to essentially share with you my process and all the insights about what the new name will be about. And it's called Happily Visible. Happily Visible will be that space where we come together and share our true selves, our true stories, become vulnerable, become real, and share from our heart, just like I have done right now, which, believe me, wasn't so easy, but I have made this pact with myself now that I will go first, and the podcast and the podcast name needs to reflect that new space that I want to be in and that I want to support women in, and the work that I want to do and the work that excites me and lights me up. So Happily Visible is both. It's happy being visible and centered and peaceful and find calm in the storm inside, but at the same time to be real and raw and speak truth, even though sometimes that can be hard. But I think it's time that we believe in our stories and in the journey. And I know if you're still here listening, that you are also someone that has this very deep calling inside your heart, just like I do. And this is the space where we connect. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate you being here and listening to my story and my journey and how I've come to this place now. And yes, I will be sharing from this new space and name in the near future. And I've already got some really amazing interviews coming up of women that are playing in this space, that are supporting in this space, that are stepping into exciting, new, impactful, meaningful work. So watch this space. I think our voices are going to get bolder and braver. Together, we can encourage each other, we can support each other. So thank you for listening today. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for sharing this space with me. Until next week. Bye.